Welcome to the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast. I'm Bill Bischof, FEMA Region 6 Community Preparedness Officer, and we're going to be talking about community preparedness matters that affect Region 6 states and tribal nations, Arkansas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, New Mexico, Texas, and the tribal nations therein. We hope you enjoy the show.
Welcome, James LeClair, to the hashtag R6 Prepares podcast. We are so pleased to have you here today. You and I have met many a time and have many more to go, but I'd like to harken back for a moment, back to my going to a Intertribal Emergency Management Coalition meeting back in probably 2016. And you and I, who had met before, and you're, of course, the emergency manager for the Otoe-Missouria tribe there in Red Rock, Oklahoma. And we had met before, but at this particular meeting, I pitched our youth preparedness camp that was going on, our partnership with Texas Youth Preparedness, or Texas School Safety Center, who was putting on the Texas Youth Preparedness Camp. And you were the brave soul who said, I am interested. And you wound up, I think you sent 5 folks that first year. And if you will, kind of pick it up from there. Tell me what your experience has been.
Well, hello, Bill. How you doing? Just want to say hello to you, brother. When we started here, it was just kind of off the wind. When I met you back then, when you offered to send the kids down there, I was really, really surprised. I was impressed. I wanted to send them somewhere to learn from somebody else. I'd heard about the Texas camp, but I'd never been there. So I got 5 kids together, and they went on down to San Marcos, Texas, and they came back with tremendous ideas. They really enjoyed it. They loved it down there. They wanted to go back the following year, and I believe you helped me that following year. Is that correct?
That is.
I think we went twice. Yes. So the kids went down there, and they came back. They was talking about the Youth Preparedness Council, and they was asking how they can get involved in that to try to get some ideas out, especially in the Native communities. And I said, well, it's something that you're going to have to take up, in your sparing time, and maybe we'll have to get on some phone calls late at night. So they was all for it. Derek and Anais have stayed with that program.
That's the other twins. Two. That's the twins that have been with it from the beginning. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's kind of sad this year we lost the Cahiga girls. They're both off to college. They have used their CERT training. They have gained an extreme interest in going into nursing just because of the dealings that they had with the CERT. So that was really impressive, and I got them involved, and now they're off and going to nursing school. So I'm really happy to hear that. I haven't heard nothing other than from their father that they're doing really good. So I'm really happy about that.
If you will, share what it was they brought back, because I was there in San Marcos with them, and I remember it was a raucous bunch that they were with, but they were not a raucous bunch. They were quiet, reserved, sat back and observed everything they could observe. And I, at one point, the folks running the camp said, have we upset somebody? And I said, no, they're checking out everything that's going on. And they're a little bit younger. At that time, they were, maybe 13, 14 years old. So they were a bit younger than most of the other kids. And I just remember that, by the time the camp ended, how very excited they were and what you got when they got home. And the next thing you know, they had taken all this first aid information, incident command, how to crib, how to, really the biggest part of it seemed to be they loved the first aid part. They loved every part of it, but they turned it around and y'all hosted the first tribal youth preparedness camp, I guess we'd say, in 2016 or 17. Is that right?
I think it was 17. We gave it a first try. What the kids experienced down there was they wanted to learn, but they also, I hate to say they was a little quiet because of their age at the time, but throughout the course of the following year, it really started to blossom with they wanted to go help at parades, at dances, We want to give out information about our thing. We want to work at trying to bring something to the school. We want to just start doing things with the other people. One of the biggest things I pushed was emergency planning at homes. So they took out a bunch of paperwork and started giving it out to their neighbors. They went to all the houses in the community and started giving out paperwork on developing an emergency action plan for their house. On top of that, we kind of helped out with trying to help out people who are elders on trying to get them more involved with. Let us know if you need help. We got kids here that's willing to come out and help you, willing to come out and see you. If you need your yard raked or something, we was trying that kind of activities at that time. And they really started coming out. So in 2017, early part of that year, we came back with a thought of why don't we do our own camp and try to see what we can do here. So our very first camp, we brought in some kids and we started teaching a little bit. And one of the things that I noticed over the past couple of years leading up to it was these kids might want to learn how to teach. They started getting more active. They started getting more involved in it. So then I came to you and I went to Roxy Bill and I asked, hey, is it possible to teach kids to be an instructor? So when at our first one, we had those kids come out and they did part of the classes and we did some of the adults did some of the other ones working with the Choctaw Nation. So we came out and we had a really good time.
Let's step back for just a second, Jay. When you say Roxy Bill, Oklahoma Homeland Security, or now Oklahoma Emergency Management and Homeland Security. Roxy Bill is the Homeland Security person and outreach person. And yeah, I just felt the need to throw the rest of her title in there because she's been such a great partner for both of us and has done a lot of making sure that we are working together on our endeavors. So she helped you get them trained. She helped you get them trained the trainer courses. I'm taking it.
Trained to be an instructor.
Excellent.
Yes,
Excellent.
That's when they came back as instructors. And that I really think that really took off with our program here with the dealing with their teen certs, mainly because it wasn't an adult up there teaching them. It was kids teaching kids. And I would say, I shouldn't say it that way, but it was juveniles teaching juveniles, teens teaching teens, however you want to term that. But those kids, when they started getting up there and they started telling the other kids, this is what we're going to learn today. This is what we're going to do this afternoon. A lot of the kids started really getting more involved. They started getting more happier. And if you remember when we was doing the lifts and stuff, when I had you volunteer, the kids really saw we can do this if we work together, if we can teach each other, learn it, and start doing the program a little bit better, we can keep moving forward with it. And I know that after that, it was one of probably the biggest things and biggest changes that we saw around here. And we started seeing it further in our travels when we started going out helping at the county fair, when we started working at that parade over in Perry, and we did Ponca, and then we came back and we did Pawnee, and it was just starting to grow really good. COVID really slowed us down this year, but I think that in the future, it's just going to get bigger. I really do. The kids are great. Right. They're energetic now. So it's really good.
Well, and obviously it means a lot to their families and to the tribe there.
Yes.
Would you suggest to other tribal nations that they do the same thing? Is it something that just seems to, because it did. I remember coming in for the first camp and also to celebrate the Otoe-Missouria tribal or youth preparedness council, first tribal youth preparedness council in the nation, first tribal youth preparedness camp.
Yes.
So I've been there a couple of times to celebrate with you, and I always love the reception that I get, and it is always, it feels like old home week to come in now and see all the people that have been so well and who have enjoyed such great traditional meals. So there's just, it's been Otoe-Missouria has a special place in my heart for all y'all have done, and also your graciousness when we do come to town. But it really worked well with the elders, with the families, with everyone that needs to work with it.
Yes. I think that as you start this program, one of the biggest things I did was I went to the parents first, and I made it clear to them that they need to understand that if these kids are going to be volunteering, if they're going to be wanting to do this, they need to have that support from the parents. I think that's the biggest key to anything that happens on the tribes is if the parents aren't in support of what they're doing, then it's not going to work. This ain't basketball. This ain't football. This ain't softball. This is people volunteering their own time to go out there and help somebody. So I even asked the parents, why don't you take a CERT class? Why don't you come in and see what we're doing? Why don't you come in and do my CPR first aid class? That way you can understand what your kids are doing. That way you'll understand when we look at an emergency action plan, when we're looking at our incident command type setups, this could work for you in your house. This could work for you in your neighborhood and just start blossoming from there. I've also really emphasized that this program really is something that tribes have already done and they've done for thousands of years. It's just got a title now. So we've been doing it all these years by helping each other out within a community because all the tribes are small. They all work together as a family unit. So it's just now got a title and it's got names. So after they started seeing what CERT is and how they're learning it, you can add to it. You saw yourself, I had the propane training into it. The reason I added it is because in our county, there's hardly anybody who's got gas. Everybody's on propane tanks. Just the Perry is the only one, the biggest city we got in our county. So they have gas, but here on on tribal land. But anyway, if you look out here, there's nothing but propane tanks. So I made sure we added that in on top of that. We also added our own culture. I put in the tribe's language department to come in and give some titles to these. And the kids really loved that. So that's one of the things you got to be able to bring in is tie the family in, tie the community in, and then try to bring some of the culture and tradition into it. And I think that's what really blossomed out. It's just like when a family comes together at a birthday party, but what they're doing is they're just working together to go out there and help one another. So that's how I thought it should go. And it's been going pretty good. I think it's really taken off here. What I've done here, I've tried to help other tribes that are surrounding us, and they're starting to get their programs. I did have a meeting with the Ponca Nation the other day, and they're looking at trying to start something similar to what we're doing. So I tried to tell them, you need to go out there and talk to the families. Just don't go out there and grab kids off the street. Make sure that you got family support. So if you can do that, then it'll be a great program.
Well, speaking of the family support, if you will, let's just go back through some of the folks that I personally have met through your program. And we've already mentioned the Bible twins, who were these young kids who have just blossomed and become instructors, and also, the folks that influenced their younger siblings, the younger kids in the tribal nation. They're just really moving things along. The Kehega girls that were there a couple years ago, you mentioned they're already going into nursing or interested in going into nursing. They're in college.
Yes.
And it seems like there was a young man, Ivan, that was there a couple of years ago that went on to get into fire training, I think.
Yes, Ivan is on my U.S. Forest Fire Service training team now. He's wanting to stay with the program as an adult, so I think that's really great. Marlene Enlow, I want to bring her up. She's now wanting to step into one of those Kehega girls' positions by becoming a trainer. She's really into it. I've got a couple other kids that are kind of coming around, which is the Hornet kids. I don't know if you remember Julie Hornet's kids, the tall ones, Diane. Sure. And those ones, they're wanting to come aboard further. The kids that's coming from, Thomas family. Those little guys the brother and sister there, they're wanting to move up further. They want to start to be more intense training. One of the things I did show them was that STEP program. So hopefully we'll be able to do that. I have talked to Dr. Golly, I can't remember his name right offhand, but the guy for the Mississippi State Formica. He was wanting to come up this year to Item C Summit and give a presentation, as well as come up to our camp, which we had to cancel due to COVID. But I'm still in contact with him, and we're going to try to start something like that here, and hopefully we can be able to move it into our school system. I have brought in talking to Kraft down there at Choctaw, and he's talking about trying to work with something, because they already got something going on with the school system down there. I can't remember if it's Atoka, but I was telling him about my find, how you can get some college credits through that program through Mississippi State University. So hopefully he'll be able to bring some more of that in, and hopefully he'll be able to help them kids out down there as well. So I'm not just thinking here, I'm trying to think, hopefully every tribe around here that's interested in trying to start a CERT program. I think getting them involved larger and bigger with Derek, he's one Italian chief. And I was like, well, okay, you can do whatever you want, but finish high school first. So he's on that. Anaya says she's kind of already looking into something in nursing or somewhere in the medical field, which I think she could be a doctor. If you remember how you were saying earlier, them guys was quiet. She was extremely quiet. Now, if you get to talking to her, you can't get her to shut up. So this program has brought out really strong kids that now can speak, and they'll talk and they'll tell them things, and they're out giving speeches at schools now. So this is great for them and bringing their inner spirit out and making them stronger, and it just makes them a better person. I really never saw that part of it when we first started, but it has really brought those kids out, and they're good kids. They're not into drugs. They're not into any of that, because they want to stay with this program. They want to see what more they can do. So hopefully we'll be able to do more in the future.
I love it. I love seeing it. I love hearing it. I love being a part of it. Love supporting it. So we're just grateful at Region 6, FEMA Region 6, for all you've done and all you continue to do. Do you have any suggestions for any tribal nations who are interested in starting a youth preparedness program, Teen CERT, anything?
As I would say, you need to get families involved. You need to make sure that you get the kids that's really wanting to do it. Don't just grab 5 kids off the street. I started out with 14, and these 4 took over. They became my fearsome 4. You'll see them, how they say leaders are in a pack. These kids came out and they have really become strong leaders in their community at their young age. My Kahiga girls, they were quiet girls that never did anything. They have now become the tribal princess, the Oklahoma City area princess. They go to dances. They're out speaking. When they see me, they come running up. Now they're calling me uncle, and I have no relation to them, but I call them my nieces too. So anything they need, I try to help them. Yes. Yeah. They was asking where's Uncle Bill going to come up. So we need to have a dinner or something when that comes. But anyway, I think that if you're going to reach out there and start a youth program, I would maybe start looking at your youth program that you have within the tribes. Almost every tribe has a youth department. Maybe you can start something there. But if you're going to get on this Youth Preparedness Council, you'll start seeing your ideas that might come out. It might even go nationwide. It might help another tribe, and it might not help you here, but it might help a larger tribe or even a smaller tribe. So just keep that in mind. Everything starts out with one. Everyone has an idea. And even though that idea might not work, it might work for someone else. So don't be afraid to step up, start out with new ideas and get going. It's just something that happened here. I'm glad it did. I love seeing my kids. They're all my kids now. Every time I see them, we're all hugging and everything. It's just they miss doing stuff. They want to get back onto bigger and better things. This COVID really slowed everything down here.
Well,
so hopefully, and with your help, with FEMA Region 6 help, and Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security, we'll keep on trucking. I think this is going to be a great program. I think we've got a great future here, and we'll just keep on building.
I agree, absolutely. I'm going to go ahead, James, and put your contact information in the notes on this video so that anybody wanting to talk to you from Tribal
Yes.
Nation if you're able to. And of course, they can always contact me as well. So with that, I'm going to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. I'm going to thank you also for everything you've done, everything you continue to do. And we will talk to you next time down the road.
Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate your help. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't have gone to Texas to get everything rolling.
That about does it for this episode. We'd like to thank Laura Brown from Arkansas Tech University's Emergency Management Program for her assistance editing this podcast. And we'd like you, the listener, to give us a like if you're so inclined, and share us with somebody else that might want to help prepare their community. Until next time, take care of you and yours.